Yeah, baby. Welcome to the 4-Point Plan. It is Sunday, February 28th, 2021, and we are back here again at the 4-Point Plan. I hope everybody out there is doing awesome. I know I am. I am JR, a drug counselor in Los Angeles, California, here to share with you the magical, beautiful formula of the 4-Point Plan that can help you get clean and sober, stay clean and sober, and find a life beyond your wildest dreams. This is episode 35. Who could believe that for 35 weeks that we would be here talking about a 4-Point Plan? You think it would just take 4 weeks and we'd be done, but no, 35 weeks we've been on the podcast talking about the 4-Point Plan that could save your life and can change your life. This is a big deal, people. There are a lot of people that think, man, I don't know if your 4-Point Plan works. Well, let's give it a look. Let's see if this thing might work. Number one, you want to do 90 meetings in 90 days. Number two, you want to get a sponsor and use that sponsor. Number three, you want to find a home group and never miss your home group. And number four, you want to find service commitments, a way to get back to the meeting. Does it work? Yes, it fucking works. Anybody that says it doesn't work is an asshole. All right, so here we are. I'm JR. I told you who I am. I want to tell you who my friends are. I am joined, as always, by my fearless co-host. First, let's say hi to Guy. Guy, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. Damn, JR, your voice, you're really loud today. I like it. It's awesome.
I want to turn your microphone down a little bit.
Yeah, you're a little loud, huh? You're a little loud.
I like it. I can hear them.
Awesome. And also today we are joined, as always, by my friend Sean. Sean, how you doing on the 4-Point Plan, buddy?
4-Point Plan's going good. Thanks for having me back on the show this morning.
I have you on the show every week. You don't have to thank me. You're the star of the show, buddy. I'm excited, man. It's
nice
Thanks, man.
The winter, I think, is over. It's the last day of February. I think March is when we jump into spring. Things are going to start getting warmer and nicer, but you never know with the global warming, man. I mean, Punxsutawney Phil said there's going to be 6 more weeks of winter, so I'm not sure what to believe. But I'm feeling pretty good right now because it's been warm for a couple days here in Los Angeles, and that's why I moved to Los Angeles, so I could be warm. It's that's why I did heroin, so I could be warm. Not much out there in the world to warm you up like some heroin. Also, not much in the world that would get you arrested like some heroin. So
over and over and over.
Maybe not too much of that. Hey guys, I am super stoked, man, about being sober today, about having worked the 4-Point Plan, finding a life beyond my wildest dreams. But I heard some things this week. I've been attending meetings and I heard some things, man, that made me concerned. Got me very concerned about people's thoughts about the 4-Point Plan, people's approaches to sobriety, people thinking that maybe it's not for them. Maybe there's alternative methods. I don't know, man. But I heard this at a meeting on Friday night from a pretty sharp kid, man. He had, I think he had 6-7 years clean, maybe 8. And he was talking about some of the people that don't get it, man. And what they do is they come into the meetings and they say, well, you know what? AA is not for me, right? And whenever I hear someone say, well, AA is not for me, I think, well, what is for you? Maybe NA, maybe Narcotics Anonymous is for you, or maybe even you're one of those funny people and it's CA. You want to try the Cocaine Anonymous, right? And they'll be like, no, you know what? I'm a little more interested in the smart recovery. I'm like, what the fuck is smart recovery? The cognitive behavioral based form of support that you can get in meetings. We don't have sponsors and we don't do 12 steps, but we all get together and we think it out. And you don't have to be sober. You just want to stop having negative consequences from your drinking and using. Wow, that sounds like a terrible fucking idea to me. That just sounds like an awful, like, oh, I'm going to go to a group of people. They're going to co-sign my bullshit and tell me how to drink successfully. Fuck me, man. I could get that at the bar. I could go to the bar and be like, hey, guys, I'm afraid I got a drinking problem. They'll be like, oh, no, you don't. You're fine. Have another. And there you go. You got all the counseling you needed. That sounds like a fucking smart recovery meeting to me. I don't know. But then there's other forms of recovery. What I like to tell people is, yes, not everybody gets sober in AA. There's other ways to get sober in AA or than in AA. like Johnny Cash, world famous Man in Black, Johnny Cash. You know Johnny Cash? I fell into a burning ring of fire. Johnny Cash, right? Johnny Cash got sober by going to prison. So I like to tell people, you know, if you don't want to do AA, you could always go to prison and get sober. So there are alternatives, but I don't know which ones are going to be the best choices. I hate it when people say AA doesn't work for everybody. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean AA doesn't work for everybody? AA works for everybody who works it. Everybody who works it. If you're going to sit there and tell somebody, oh, well, you know, you might be one of the special people that AA don't work for, you could be fucking killing them, giving them some bullshit advice like that. Instead, say, oh, well, if you didn't like AA the first time, maybe try a different meeting, maybe get a little bit more involved. I fucking get it, man. I went to meetings, I went to NA meetings for 7 years while I was getting loaded. I couldn't stop using, but I kept going, and I would leave saying, fuck those people. They don't understand. If they had a life as hard as mine, they wouldn't be able to stop using heroin either. That's what I would say. I believe that shit to my core. Those NA people, they're not like me. They can't understand where I come from. I'm special. I'm different. I need to keep using, right? I thought that way. I was a slave to my addiction. Addiction fucking owned me. So it didn't matter what the people in the meeting said, because in my brain, all I could think was, I got to get another one. And so someone could tell me brilliant shit. They could tell me beautiful shit. Murray, when I was loaded, Murray, my old grant sponsor, used to tell me, I love you, JR. Keep coming back. And in my mind, I was like, whatever, fuck it, whatever. I'm just going to do heroin, right? It's a disease. It lives in your brain. How the fuck do you fight a brain disease? It ain't fucking easy. I'll tell you that. But what did work for me was repetition. It wasn't by going and finding some other program that was going to co-sign some bullshit for me. I went to NA where people told me, you're fucking up. Stop getting fucking loaded. I would get loaded right before I went to the meeting. I would go and sit at the table in the meeting, and then I would bleed on the table. I would move my arm and I would look down at the table, and there'd be a pool of blood there dripping out of my fucking arm because I just shot up 5 minutes before I walked in the meeting. So I get it, man. I get the thought and the feeling and the belief that, oh, it's not working for me. These meetings aren't working for me. I get it, but you got to fucking do what they say. You got to not pick up no matter what. You got to get a sponsor, man. You got to go to a meeting every day. You got to get a home group. You got to get a commitment. It's by doing those things, man, that you at least get a glimpse of hope, man. If you could get a day clean by doing that, it all starts with 1 day clean, man. And 1 day clean for an addict or alcoholic is a fucking miracle. If you're listening to my podcast and you got 1 day clean, you're a fucking miracle, man. And maybe if you do what you did to get 1 day clean for 2 days, you can get 2 days clean. This thing works, and it fucking works for everybody. And that's what I want to talk about today, because I'm pissed off at hearing people say, oh, well, AA's not for me. Fucking do it. Do it for a year and fucking prove to me that AA sucks balls, all right? Go ahead, fucking prove it, because I'll tell you what'll happen. If you go to a meeting every day for a year, your life will fucking turn around and it'll become marvelous and beautiful, and you'll quit talking all that shit. I was fucking homeless junkie, man. I fucking slept on the street, and because of fucking getting sober and doing the 4-point plan, I now have a life that I never dreamed of, man. I live in a beautiful home. I drive a nice new car, and these are things that, like, I have insurance today. These are things that normal people take for granted, man. But for me, I don't, because I know what it's like to fucking live outside, or live in a car, or live in a garage, or to fucking take my bedroll and hide it in a public garage during the day and go get it at night so I could sleep outside on the fucking street. I know what that fucking life is like. And the fact that I have so much more today in my life is a direct result of getting clean and staying clean, man, in the program, in NA, in AA. Because I got fucking sober, my life is awesome. So if someone wants to tell me, well, AA doesn't work, no, man, what you're really saying is, I got disease in my brain that doesn't want me to stop drinking. That's what you're fucking saying. That's what I believe. I mean, you guys might believe different, but I believe when someone says, well, you know, AA, they have terrible success rate. Motherfuckers, I'm convinced AA's got 100% success rate for people who do what we say. What about the 4-point plan? What kind of success rate's that got? Motherfuckers, I know more people got clean off the 4-point plan over the last 5 years than any other method. Okay. So don't tell me it don't work, because I've seen it work. I've seen it work for Guy. I've seen it work for Sean. I've seen it work for several others. This thing works, man, and it saves lives, and it gets people off of being homeless and into a nice house and having their family back and having a life beyond their wildest dreams. It fucking works, man. So every time I hear someone say, oh, it doesn't work for me, I get fucking pissed, man. I get pissed, but you know what? I got compassion and I got love, and I'm like, keep coming back. That's what they told me, man, when I was being a little bitch about it. They said, keep coming back. That's my rant. Guy, I know that you got some fucking alternative viewpoints. What do you think about when people say, well, AA don't work for me?
All right, here we go. If someone does say it, maybe it's possible they can do it on their own. How about that? You know, if you look at it that way, all right, AA doesn't work for you. You want to stop using or drinking. It's not going to work for you. Then just stop. If you can do it on your own, then do it on your own. That's what I can tell somebody. If you see that you can't do it on your own, you're trying really hard and you're not successful, then maybe try doing something that other people that's worked for them. So some people, they say, all right, it doesn't work for me, because I believe that maybe it is inside their head, like you were saying, that says that, no, I don't want to go here. I don't want to do anything that anybody suggests in front of me. I get that. I was the same way too. No, they're not like me. I was so different than anybody else in the meetings when I first went. I was exactly like what you said, JR. Nope, they don't know what it's like to be me. I'm different. Fuck, man. I was so different that I thought it was okay to just keep drinking myself to death. But, all right, if it's not for you, then just stop on your own. You know, that's one way I can tell it to somebody. I don't know. You need to do something. If you know it's a problem and you really know that you want to stop, you come up with something then. And if your way's not working, we'll show you a way that's worked for millions of people.
I also was very different when I came in. I didn't believe I was even an alcoholic or even really had a problem when I first came in. I just did it because I don't know. I came in and, you know, I was like you guys. I thought I was different. I didn't think I needed it. And maybe so. Maybe I didn't need the program to help me stay sober, but the emotional sobriety is what was the most beneficial for me that I got out of it. It helped me look at my past. It helped me, you know, clean up all that wreckage and, you know, make amends to a lot of people that I ruined and destroyed and brought down. You know, in smart recovery, I don't really know too much about it, so I can't really talk shit about it, but it does sound like it's for pussies. And I feel comfortable saying that because I don't believe anybody who is on smart recovery is listening to this anyway. So if you're a pussy, and stop being a pussy and start doing the 4-point plan.
Yeah, 4-point plan, bitches.
But yeah, like that guy said, if you think you're different, then you can stop on your own. You don't need meetings. So that means you're a normal person, or a normie, as we like to call it, and you probably don't need the meetings because you're probably not destroying people's lives and crashing cars and going to jail every other day. So yeah, I mean, yeah, if you don't need it, then eventually you will. Keep trying the other ways until nothing else works. And then you'll come back here and realize that the 4-point plan does work.
You gotta go, man. You gotta go just to check it out. Like, I went for a long time while I was loaded, and I believe that experience, that I heard some things and I learned some things through osmosis. You know what that is, right? That's when you learn something from having your ass in the meeting. It's called osmosis. Okay, so I think I learned some things from osmosis, and I kept coming back. Murray kept saying, "We love you, JR. Keep coming back." And then one time, I went to the meeting. I raised my hand. I was like, "None of you motherfuckers know what it's like to be me. Nothing you say is gonna help me stop doing heroin. You just sit here and bitch about your problems, about your dog and your kids and your car. I ain't got none of that shit. I just can't stop doing heroin. You guys don't fucking understand." And I stomped out, right? And then the secretary followed me out, and instead saying, "Keep coming back," you know what he said? He said, "Could you stop coming back?" I was the guy. I was the one guy, and it was like, "Well, we don't really want you here."
Maybe you should try smart recovery, JR.
Yeah, have you considered going to smart recovery? Because NA doesn't really like people like you. I was like, "Fuck you. I'm glad I bled on your table."
They got to have somebody with a commitment to clean those tables up after.
It's the program works, man, and the people that I know that have the longest periods of sobriety. I went to a meeting my first year with a guy who had 32 years clean, and he took a birthday cake and he got up to the front to give his big birthday speech, and I was like, 32 years, I got to hear this. I like this guy. Can't wait to hear what he says. Shortest birthday speech of all time. He said, "Yeah, I just want to say this program works," and that was it, and walked off. So if that dude's got 32 years clean, he says it works, I'm just gonna say it fucking works, man. And the people that say, "Oh, it's not for me," you know what? Well, you know why they say AA is not for them? I think I know why they say it. They say AA is not for me because fucking drinking is for me. What I'm into is continuing to fucking drink myself to death. I like jails, institutions, and death more than I like AA. So really, when someone comes up with "it's not for me," and some people will always have to use something. No, that's just fucking, that's people choosing death, choosing jails, institutions, and death. We should all get those fucking Wham George Michael t-shirts that say "choose life," and we should do the jitterbug all day and just tell people choose life instead of choosing fucking death and doing fucking drugs and continuing to drink yourself to death, especially now, man. It's 2021. Do you guys know what they got out there? It's called fentanyl. As a matter of fact, they got a fucking nickname for it. I just found out yesterday. Did you guys get my my email yesterday? Did I send you the board? Someone was talking about doing fetties, and I'm like, "What the fuck are fetties? You guys are getting high on confetti now, or fucking what? Funfetti? What's a fetty?" And he's like, "Oh, that's what they call fentanyl." Like, are you shitting me? They got a fucking nickname for fentanyl? Why don't they just call it fucking 9 out of 10 die? That's what they should call it.
Babies.
Yeah, so here it is, 2021, and fentanyl has invaded the world, and it's killing people left and right, and people can't continue to fucking do drugs in this environment because it will fucking kill you. They're putting fentanyl in heroin, they're putting it in cocaine, they're putting it in meth, they're putting it in fucking weed. Imagine buying a bag of weed and fucking taking the toke, and boom, you drop dead because there's fucking fetties in it. That's some fucked up shit right there, man. And I know, because I had to bury my brother with a fucking needle in his arm. I fucking know how bad it hurts, man, to have a family member go out and die from using fucking drugs, man. And we always say, don't fucking kill yourself with drugs, because if you do, you're killing the wrong person. You don't have to be the addict that you are today for the rest of your life. You can get sober and stay sober. Fuck, you could do that by doing the 4-point plan.
Yeah, 50 seems like it killed more people than the coronavirus has.
I don't think it has, because the coronavirus has killed a lot of people. But I do know that I got clean 12 years ago. When I got clean, there were only something like 15 overdoses a day, death by overdoses. And then now it's like over 200 a day. It's awful.
I don't think we lost Guy, but
Were you a fentanyl guy, Sean?
no,
Was that?
I don't think I've ever used. I don't think I ever tried it. I think it came out after I mean, I'm sure it was out there, but no, I never. I was strictly the black guy using
Black tar heroin.
yeah, black tar heroin. The fentanyl I think came out later, but
it just keeps gaining traction. You know, it just keeps getting more and more popular. For a while, what it was people accidentally got fentanyl in place of heroin, or they would buy heroin and it would turn out to be fentanyl. I had a
Yeah.
kid. He had fallen asleep behind the wheel of his car. So in our driveway, he was parked like sideways, blocking the driveway. No one could drive around him. And walked up to the car, and he was asleep in the driver's seat. And I immediately said to my friend who was with me, I said, he could be dead. It looks like he might have overdosed. And we banged on the window, and then some more people came out. We opened up the door and brought him, woke him up. We got him up and parked the car and got him out. And I was walking with him, and he said, "Oh man, that must have been fentanyl." And I laughed. I said, "Do you think?" Because he thought he was sitting out smoking some heroin, and he didn't realize it was fentanyl, and it was killing him. He almost died. If we hadn't come to him in his car when we did, he probably would be dead. So this shit is out there, and it's super deadly. And I don't want fucking people making the mistake of thinking, well, it's not going to help me, so I'm just going to keep doing fentanyl, because that's choosing death. That's what I was joking about, but I'm dead serious about this. You are choosing to not try to live if you choose to continue to use, man. Using is losing. Using is fucking dying. And when I was new, every day I thought about that, man. That, man, I don't know if I want to be sick today, if I want to stay clean today, but I know I don't want to die. And if I use, I will die. So, you know, every day I went to meetings and I had that idea in my head, and eventually I didn't want to use anymore. So
That's exhausting lifestyle. Like me, it brought me to jails and it brought me to treatment, and it brought me just to do this dark demoralization period where it was it was terrifying, and then especially like with the fentanyl, like I didn't, nobody knows what's in it, you just get it, and next thing you know, you're liquefying it, and hopefully you're going to be alive a few minutes later. But there was a lot of people that I was hanging out with that died, that overdosed. I remember this one guy, his mom found him in his room, and it was too late. Like he walked in there, she walked in his room to say good morning or whatever, and he just was unresponsive and blue. And turns out he was shooting up fentanyl by himself and just did a little bit too much, and it wiped him out. But yeah, nobody needs to go out that way. He was young, and that was right before I got sober. And so I mean, a lot of those situations that not reflected, but it had an impact on my sobriety, because I don't want to see people die like that, and I don't want to die like that. Like that one day when I was at work, that one guy OD'd in front of the building, and we had to give him CPR. And like if we didn't happen to be there, he would have died. It's super. The disease is real, and it's there to kill you.
I believe the guy that said that no addict ever needs to die from the horrors of addiction. I believe that. So no one needs to die from this. Sean, I want to know if I can't get people to even go to one meeting, right? What was it that finally got you to buy in and just start going to meetings every day? You still go to almost every day a meeting. And what did that for you? Is there any magical formula that I can use to get people to do what you did to stay sober?
I mean, people just have to be willing. I think willingness is number one key. You have to be willing to try it, and you have to be willing to be open-minded to whatever the program that, because I can only talk about what worked for me. And when I got my sponsor, this is he's like, if you want me to sponsor you, this is how I stay sober, and this is what I expect you to do. And I said, I'm willing to do whatever it takes, because I needed structure. And what made it work was there was no other way. Like I didn't want to try another way. I didn't want to try to do half measures anymore. I was tired of looking for loopholes. I was tired of trying to manipulate, trying to control everything my way. And I was just done. I was exhausted. I was desperate. And I just finally just let go. And that's
Do you realize the AA that you went to was more structured. It required more meetings and more commitments than other AA. So, I mean, that was a big step to take to go into quality of life, which is a lot harder than regular AA.
Yeah, well, I don't think I realized it at the time, but by the time I already made the commitment with my sponsor, it was done, and I didn't want to let him down. And I'm kind of a people pleaser, so I kind of just dove into it, and I just did whatever whatever it took. And I understand that people are like, oh, I have to work, and I have to, I'm trying to go to school, and people always use that excuse to try to get out of meetings, but there is a way to make it work. Trust me, I did it for my 90. I did it. It was like I had to rearrange my whole life for AA, because AA had to come first. My sobriety had to come first, because everything else is a byproduct. Nothing else mattered unless I have my sobriety. Like, it took me a while to realize that. I remember there was one time I tried to go. There was a concert, and I think I shared about this before, but I wanted to go to this concert on Saturday night. My sponsor told me, goes, "Yeah, sure, you can go find a new sponsor."
What concert?
I can't remember. I think it was Journey or something.
Devo.
Journey or Devo?
No, it wasn't Journey, but I was one of those concerts in the park. Like, wasn't that big of a deal. It was just like one of those ones at the concerts in the park. In
the
Valley.
Journey cover band. Don't Stop Believing. DSB.
I don't know who it was.
That one, JR?
What?
You know that one?
Oh yeah, I know that one.
It might have been like Prince or whatever the cover band was for. It wasn't even that big of a deal. But my point is, doesn't matter who it was.
Yeah.
I asked him if I could go to it, and he said, "Sure, you can go and find a new sponsor." And if I got a little resentment, I'm like, "Really? Like, I just did. Don't you know I just did 4 months in treatment, and like I just got out, and that was it." But I made a commitment to go to that meeting on that day, and I canceled the concert and I went. Not only that, like I wanted to do school, like I enrolled in school, and I actually had to cancel my enrollment so I could do my 90/90, because that's what he told me to do. And at first I had a resentment. I'm like, no, I need to go to school. Like, don't you know I have to, get my life back, and I have to make money, and I have to get you. And he said, Sean, you have to slow down. I need you to cancel registration, and you have to do your meetings for the first 90 days. All that will come, I promise you. If it was my kids, like I couldn't see my kids that often, and I had to put everything on hold to get my sobriety foundation first. And I'm thankful that happened. Looking back, it makes sense now, absolutely. But at the time, I'm like, what's this one meeting what's gonna matter if I miss one meeting? Trust me, it matters. Because I was trying to find loopholes. I was trying to find the easy way out. I was doing it half-measure. I was just trying to find the easiest way. And I'm so thankful for my sponsor that held me accountable and told me no, and not let me do what I needed to do, because I might still be sober, but I don't think I would have a strong sober foundation that I have today.
I remember when I had 11 years clean. I did 90 and 90, and I started going to Quality of Life with Sean.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was like, oh man, now I got to go every day, because if I miss a day, Sean's gonna know.
Yeah.
It's cool, man, to get yourself accountable.
So I saved you a seat every day.
Every time I show up, people are like, hey, I saved you a seat. And I would always feel all special. I'd be like, oh, I got a seat saved for me. Yeah. Guy, so what I asked Sean, I think you were back in time to hear this, is what's that piece that finally made you willing to do it, to go to the meetings, to go to the meetings and use it to get sober?
I finally came to a realization that, all right, I'm going to need to do what the people are doing that are continuing to staying sober. I enjoyed getting some physical sobriety. It was awesome. I had that little thing inside my head saying, all right, I think I got it, but no. So I knew I had to make AA part of my life.
Hey, you know who says that? You know who says I got it? That dude that definitely does not got it.
Yeah, I know. I hate those words.
Yeah, I think that guy's in detox right now. He's got
he got it.
Bed. He got a detox.
I got it. Leave me alone. Yeah, but luckily, I knew I had to make AA part of my life because I know how my mind works. It will go back to my old ideas and my old thoughts, and I know best. And I felt that before in my life, when it came to drinking and drugging, for sure. Oh no, I feel good. I just needed a little break. oh, I'm fine. And then I wouldn't be fine, you know? I would go back. I have a default mode of wanting to get loaded.
You were not fine, guy. Anybody that gets so drunk that they cannot find their car for a year is not fine.
No shit. And I was just done doing it that way. And I just failed time after time after time. My life was miserable and miserable and miserable. So I knew I had to do it, right? But to make that connection, to go to meetings a lot in that beginning, I'm lucky that I met a guy who was my original sponsor, my first ever sponsor. And and I had a story similar to Sean's, where I had to, you know, true, we have to support ourselves in this society. So I had to get a job. I told him, I said, look, you know, I have to I have to make money. And he's like, yeah, you do. He said, guy, look, all you need right now is to get enough money to put your ass in a sober living for a little while. And you got to make this your number one job. Going to meetings is going to be, and building this foundation, making that connection with people you would talk about too, building up that support system around you. That's going to be your number one job right now. And this is what's going to keep this thing going for you. He said, all that's the same thing Sean's sponsor told him. All that stuff will come as long as you're staying sober. The minute you go back, it's all out the window. And that's a little bit of what made me commit. And then I started lacking a little bit. And then I came into touch with JR a little bit. And then I started, I was a little hesitant on going to that 90 and 90. But, you know, that desperation just was there. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to go back. I do not want to go back. So I started saying, okay, I committed to doing the 4-point plan. I committed to going to 90 meetings in 90 days. My sponsor he wanted me going at least to like 4 or 5 a week, right? He told me like certain meetings that I should be going to. And, but the involvement maybe wasn't there. I was picking and choosing. The home group was one that JR helped me really understand about why it's important to have a home group, a meeting that I was going to each and every week at the same time. That's a home group, not just the one place I was going to my meetings at, but one particular meeting where I'm going to see the same exact people each and every week. That was huge for me too, because they started to get to know me. And I didn't want them to know me. I did not want to get them to know me. I would still just be like by myself, the lone wolf, sitting over in the back. Yeah. Going, standing over here by myself, smoking or doing something. But they got to know me little by little. And I started letting them in little by little. And that's when a lot of this magic started happening, of building that connection.
Guy, you used one of the most important words there. You said when you got that desperation, and I would fucking hope you got some desperation. Guy has the fucking gnarliest story I've ever heard in my life. I was sitting there with a guy one day and he said, yeah, I slept in the gutter. And I thought, well, I've heard that before, because it's like a figure of speech. People say sleeping in the gutter. I used to sleep on this concrete block outside of a bank. And if someone asked me where you sleep, I'd probably say something like I slept in the gutter. But guy said, no, literally, I slept in the gutter. I slept in the street next to a curb. And I'm like, wait, what? How the fuck does that happen? And he says, I would just drink and walk and drink and walk. And eventually the alcohol would be so intense that I would just lay down and go to sleep. And oftentimes that would be right there in the gutter. And I was like, dude, are you crazy? Someone could park their car and run over your head. That is fucking gnarly, man. That is scary as fuck. And
that's exactly what happened.
Thank God you got the desperation.
Right. That's exactly what was happening. I didn't know where I was going to go to sleep or pass out. I didn't like choose to like lay down there. It's just where my body's shut down. And cars, a week before, you know, I was waking up by ambulance saying, hey, you know how many people almost ran you over right now? And I didn't understand, you know, I was like, no. I told him no.
Yeah, for the first year, I stayed in desperation mode. Like I don't know, I tried to keep myself in that mode of that I don't got this and I don't know it, because because they call it what they call it, the pink cloud. It's when you get a little bit of time sober, then all of a sudden you start feeling good and you're like, oh yeah, I got this. But I tried to. You better hope you got a sponsor when you fall to that pink cloud, when you parachute, because without that, because you're gonna fall.
You're gonna be in a
Eventually,
pink cloud. You better have a pink parachute.
you have your sponsor, better have a sponsor, because you're gonna fall from that cloud eventually,
Right.
and so because I had the same feeling, I was like, oh yeah, I feel great. I got 90 days. I got 120. And then you start like, oh yeah, I got this. It's nothing. It's nothing. I try to stay in desperation mode because I remember where it was the day I walked into treatment, and just the heartache I caused and of everybody and missing my kids, and just I didn't want to lose that feeling, but I couldn't stay in there for too long because I you don't want to stay in desperation mode.
You
I
gotta
did for the
stay in
first year.
desperation mode. Do you like fucking breaking your mom's heart? Is that something
Right.
you're into? Do you dig like fucking hurting the people that love you the most? Because I fucking hate that shit, man. I hate the fact that the people that love me would fucking cry and fucking worry and be scared to death that they were gonna have to fucking bury me because of my fucking addiction, man. I didn't like that. So what they taught me was what I got was that gift of desperation that both you guys are talking about. I was so fucking desperate because I knew if I didn't stop, I was dead. There was no question in my mind. If I didn't stop, I was dead. So I had to go to 90 and 90. They didn't tell me, oh, well, do 90 and 90 if you have time. Do 90 and 90 if it doesn't conflict with your work schedule. That's not what they fucking said, man. They said do 90 and 90 or else you'll fucking die. And I believed them. I was fucking desperate. So I did 90 and 90. I'll tell you what, man, I talk to people now who are like, well, I didn't go to a meeting on Wednesday because I had to go to the DMV. I was like, I've been to the DMV. It's pain in the ass. Sometimes it could take a long time. You could be there for like 3 hours and it's fucking irritating. But you know what? There's 24 hours in a fucking day. So you still had plenty of fucking time to go to a fucking meeting. So for me, in my first 90 days, here's how it worked. If I was working somewhere for 23 hours and I only had 1 hour, I would go to a fucking meeting and not sleep, because the most important thing in the world to me was my recovery. The most important thing in the world to me was not dying. The most important thing in the world to me was being good to the people who love me for the first time ever. What I wanted was a new way of life, and they promised me you can stop using, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live. They promised me that. And I was like, really? Can I really find a new way to live? Can I find a way to live where I can afford to pay rent? Can I find a way to live where people will employ me? Will I find a way to live where I'll take a shower every day? Is that a way of life that I could really have? Because I didn't even think so, because I wasn't doing it. I was a fucking homeless motherfucker with holes in my shoes who was fucking blessed every time I got a chance to take a shower. And that certainly wasn't every fucking day, man. And so I wanted a new life. I desperately wanted a new life, and I wanted to live. I wanted to survive. So I found it in the 12-step programs, AA and NA, man. That's where I went. And those people fucking loved me. And I was fucking a diehard fucking gutter hype junkie who hated myself and hated looking at myself in the mirror and hated everything about me, right? So I went to this place where people loved me, man, and they built me up and they supported me and they patted me on the back. And when I got 30 days clean and they gave me a keychain, they fucking cheered like crazy for me. And when I got 60 days clean and got a keychain, they cheered even more. And when I got a year clean, man, when I went on Thursday night, June 24th, 2009, for my 1 year birthday, I went up to the front of the meeting to take my birthday cake and to speak, because we get to speak when we take our cakes. And I turn around to speak, and the people in the room had known me for, by this time, 8 years. I told you I went to those meetings for 7 years loaded. So they had known me for 8 years, and they were finally seeing me get 1 year clean. And they gave me a standing ovation. And I was so excited because for 8 years I've been planning this birthday speech, right?
Great.
But they wouldn't stop clapping for me to speak. They kept standing and kept clapping for what seemed like forever, probably for 5 minutes, something stupid. Like they just kept going. It was weird. I had never seen it for anybody else, man. And then to make it even more special, my wife and my sponsor threw a party for me. One of our home group's houses, one of our home group member had a house that he invited everybody into his house, and there were like 100 people there, and they all like had a cookout, and I got lots of cards and shit, and they made me a birthday cake with a little wrestling ring on it that had a little Hulk Hogan action figure and a little Jimmy Snuka action figure, and it said "Happy 1 year, champ." And it was incredible, man. Like the amount of support I got for getting sober and staying sober was incredible. It was my home group members, and it was just the first reward, man. It was just the beginning of, me not being homeless anymore, and me not being shot out and strung out anymore, and me not killing myself every day anymore, because people loved me in the meetings. And if you're listening to this podcast, man, you're like, oh, I don't think AA is for me. It is, man. It is. I can tell you because I go to meetings with Sean and Guy. When people come in, we fucking love them. We love newcomers. It's just a thing, man. We want more dudes to come in and be our friends. We want to have a bigger group of friends, and we want you to be a part of it. If you're struggling, man, and you can't stop using, we want you to fucking come be our friend, man. Come hang out with us. We go to fucking amusement parks. We go to fucking haunted Halloween rides. We do fun shit, man. We fucking text each other memes all day. We are fucking buddies, man. I love these guys. And when I was fucking using, I didn't have no buddies. I had a fucking drug dealer. That's all I had, man. And so this is a life beyond my wildest dream. Just having connection to people. And I got a lot of people, man. I look at my phone and I look at my connections, and I got like fucking 500, 1,000 people in my phone because all the people in recovery that I've gotten close to. And people will call me and people will trust me because they know that I'm sober, man. It's a different world. It's a different life. And I got it from the gift of desperation and going to fucking meetings, man. Going to fucking meetings. I know you don't think that AA is for you. It's for you, man. We promise it's for you. Fucking, if I'm not cool to you, fucking Guy will be cool to you. If you don't think Guy's cool, you definitely don't think Sean's cool, because Sean's one cool motherfucker. I'm just saying. Tell him, Sean, tell him why they need to go to meetings, man.
Go to meetings, you're gonna die. You need to go to meetings before you drink a little bit too much, before you shoot a little bit too much, before you snort a little bit too much, before your heart stops. And not only that, like going to meetings, like we talk about all the time, connection. Connection is so important. When I got there, like I was kind of like Guy. I didn't want you guys to know me. I didn't want you to, because I didn't want to let anybody in, because I figured you guys are going to judge me. You're not going to like me of what I've done in the past or where I've been. And when I got to my home group, it wasn't like that at all. Any meeting I go to, for the most part, everybody's lets you in, and everybody wants to know you. And even if they don't want to know you, they're going to fake it, and they're going to say, hi, how are you doing? They're going to shake your hand when you walk in. And, for the first few months, I sat in the back, and I didn't want to raise my hand. Like my heart would get all, beating super fast, because I didn't want to be called on, or I didn't want to share. And because I believed I was different. But I kept coming back and keep going. And then I came to believe that I'm not different. I'm not better than anybody. A lot of humility came into place, and I realized that I can't do it on my own. And Alcoholics Anonymous and the 4-point plan is what helped me stay sober. And now we're just trying to give it back to you guys.
Guy, why should we go to meetings, brother? How can we convince these people that meetings are good and AA can't work for them?
Because if you really want to stop and you can't do it on your own, you might as well hang out with the people that have figured out a way to stop doing it. We find those people at the meetings. We get to know them, and they'll get to know you. They will. They got to know JR for 8 years. They didn't give up, even though they did tell him, maybe you shouldn't be coming to this meeting because all you do is complain all the time.
Go to a different one.
But that was one guy, one guy told him that, right? But they kept letting him come back. And he kept doing it. And then he got serious about it. Just like I think what we did too. I got serious about it. I didn't just rest on my laurels, which means I didn't go to it for a few months and then, okay, I think I'm good now. No, I just kept going, and I kept going to more. I started going every day. I started going to one meeting that I just really enjoyed every week. I got to know those people. They got to know me. I think the 4-point plan builds a connection with other people that have solved this problem that we got up in our heads. And it's a beautiful thing.
And Jared, that guy who told you not to come back, was that at your home group?
Yes, he was. He was the secretary of the home group back before I got sober.
So was he there that 8 years later when?
No, he relapsed.
Right. That's what I was getting to. What a shame.
The guy that told me don't come back, he stopped coming back. I love the meme that I read that says people that stop going to meetings never get to hear about what happened to the people that stopped going to meetings. There's a picture of someone with the toe tag.
True. It's only a matter of time, man. Especially like for me, like when I was 18, I did some stupid stuff and I went away for a long time, and I got, California, they gave out strikes, and I got 2 of them when I was 18 years old. So the odds have always kind of been against me. For this long, I've gotten pretty lucky. But it's only a matter of time before I drink too much and do something in a drunken stupor, or take something from the wrong person, and I'm gonna end up going away for the rest of my life. And that scares me. That was a big part of me staying sober too, was growing up a little bit and realizing that, oh fuck, I'm not invincible, and there's a good chance that I'm gonna go away for the rest of my life if I don't stay sober. And that scares me quite a bit.
Good.
But it never did when I was young. When I was 18, when I got out, 5 years later, it didn't matter, even though I had these and I was on active parole, and I still continued to drink and drive and do stupid stuff. And by the grace of God, or something bigger than me, kept me out from doing a long, long time. Yeah. Pretty scary stuff, man.
Well, you know what they say? They say we are people in the grip of a continuing and progressive illness whose ends are always the same: jails, institutions, and death. And there is no question that Sean and Guy and JR would all be locked up in jail or in an institution or dead if we hadn't gotten sober. And the truth is Guy would probably be dead. I would probably be dead. Sean would probably be dead, but Sean might be in jail.
I was thinking jail, JR dead, Guy, institution.
All 3. You got all 3 right here.
Yeah, Guy might have gone crazy.
Yeah.
And they might have arrested him for some of his outfits and put him into another house.
Yep.
It's Halloween. You're like, no, it's not. It's April. Why are you wearing a clown costume?
Guy dresses like a clown.
I'm still in spirit.
It's true, man.
Listen, man, if you think AA isn't for you, fucking maybe you're right, but I don't believe it. So here's what I suggest. If you want to prove it to me, go to a meeting every day for a year and then come back and show me how your life sucks just as bad as when you started, because that ain't going to fucking happen. You go to a meeting every day for a year, you're going to come back to me and you're going to be like, God damn, JR, you were right. That 4-point plan is the shit, and fucking life is so much better, and I owe it all to fucking going to meetings and getting a sponsor and a home group and a commitment. This is how it works, baby. It's what we're talking about. A 4-point plan to change your life, get you sober, keep you sober, give you a life beyond your wildest dreams. You can do it. I know you can. Sean, tell them do the 4-point plan.
Do the 4-point plan. Period. Period.
He's like that dude with 32 years. Like, this program works.
It works. Mic drop.
Wow.
Guy, tell him to do the 4-point plan, brother.
Just do it, man. If nothing else is working, maybe you should try this, right?
That's right. You should do 90 and 90. You should get a sponsor. You should get a home group. You should get a commitment. You should do these things because maybe just maybe you get sober, you stay sober, and you find a life beyond your wildest dreams because you did the 4-point plan. Hey, tell all your friends to listen to the 4-point plan podcast. Tell them to go to 4pointplan.com to spell it out, man. Go on YouTube and look at the 4-point plan. We are doing this thing every week. This is episode 35, and we're still going strong, and we're still getting the message out there. Just stay sober, do 4-point plan. 90/90 sponsor a home group commitment. You can do it, baby. Yeah.